This woman was stabbed 76 times with a knife by her husband. But what happened to warrant such brutality and inhumane action? Well, stay on this video to find out. Welcome back to a very tragic story. If you like such type of stories, please consider subscribing to our channel for more of such stories. In our previous story, we saw a young lady who went out for a job interview but sadly did not make it back alive. Today, we will be looking at a story between two lovebirds, TITILAYO, a banker, and Akolade, who became ordained as a pastor at the age of 12. This tragic story started in 2005 when two postgraduate scholars met and couldn't have enough of each other. In 2008, TITILAYO got pregnant. Akolade was excited and he took TITILAYO over to see his parents. By November that year, the two got married. These two became very good at handling their relationship and even went on to become very good relationship counselors. Although this was what people on the outside believed, but like every other couple, they're bound to be conflicts. A few months before their child Olamide was born, they were making plans for the baby when his wife TITILAYO demanded 500,000 naira to buy all necessary things for the baby. Akolade told her he didn't have such money on him and offered to give her 100,000 naira, but TITILAYO refused and angrily left for her parents' house. This matter was soon resolved, but other conflicts stirred up in their relationship. After Olamide was born, TITILAYO became pregnant again, but this time she took a drastic decision. Without the consent of her husband, Akolade, she aborted the child. One Friday, Akolade went for a vigil but did not come back the following morning. He went to stay with a friend. He did it intentionally so his wife would actually miss him. But while he was still at his friend's place, he realized that his wife did not call. He started missing her and went back home that same day. But to his surprise, when he got home, he found another man in his house. But his wife claimed it was just the colleague. Soon after, the man left and Akolade was bitter that his wife did not call him or try to reach out to him. Although he did not claim to have seen his wife in an indecent situation with another man, their maid had seen Akolade with another woman on bed and had reported it to TITILAYO. This caused TITILAYO to flare up and move back to her father's house. In addition, demanding divorce because at this point, Akolade was beginning to get physical with her, leaving her with swollen cheeks, bloodshot eyes, bruises, and injuries in some cases. TITILAYO constantly forgave Akolade for his abusive actions towards her, and most times she moved out to her parents' house. Akolade will persuade her to move back in with him. But these and other events led to the incident of a crime on Friday, the 24th day of June 2011. This day was Akolade's birthday. He woke up at about 3 a.m. that morning and had his prayers. He made love to his wife. They both planned how the day would go. The couple had agreed to stay home to see some movies and bond. They reviewed their relationship and promised each other to do better. What started off as a beautiful morning ended as a Black Friday, especially for the people of Isolo, Lagos. Akolade received calls from his father and other well-wishers wishing him a happy birthday. He took the keys to the car and went to the bank to get some money so he could celebrate that day. But on his way home, he met with his mechanic to have a quick fix. But this made him stay longer than expected, leaving his wife TITILAYO lonely at home. When he returned home that day, he met his wife already dressed and set to go out. This led to an argument because you see, TITILAYO had been drinking that very day in an attempt to do away with the depression. Akolade was not happy and wouldn't have it, so he confronted her because they had agreed to stay home. Why is she all dressed? So TITILAYO went ahead to make a call to her father and demanded that her father should tell Akolade to leave her alone. But this argument escalated and TITILAYO went into the kitchen to pick up a knife. She threatened to kill Akolade and kill herself with the knife. As the argument went on, she shoved the knife towards Akolade, but Akolade defended it and the knife pierced his hand. But as they kept on struggling, TITILAYO slipped and fell on the bed. The knife pierced her chest, leaving behind a pool of blood and a slowly dying wife. According to Akolade, he desperately tried to get help, but no one was forthcoming. He tried to get out and call for help, but the door to the main entrance was locked by TITILAYO. He tried to break the door open, but he did not succeed. At that moment, he had the most brilliant idea to jump from a 4-story building to go get help. At that moment, his mechanic arrived, the same mechanic he spent the whole day with, leaving his wife lonely at home. Well, they both got into Akolade's car and went to get help at the nearest police station. Before they got to the police station, Akolade saw some policemen standing by the road, so he parked his car and went to meet them for help. But before he could recount what happened at his residence, a car knocked him from behind and he lost consciousness. He woke up at the dump site without knowing how he got there. He was arrested the next day for the suspected murder of his wife, Titilayo. So far, this story is based on Akolade's testimonies of events that happened on that very day. And yes, the story doesn't add up. This is true because the judge also mentioned at the court hearing that Akolade kept giving inconsistent testimonies. You see, for me, why didn't he make a call? Why didn't he shout out for help when he realized his wife was dying? Why did he have to jump from his 4-story building? Were there no neighbors in his house? Well, that is my own questions though. However, at this point I feel bad for Akolade because he just lost his wife. But you see, he's about to lose his daughter, a 3-year-old Olamide. The victim, Titilayo, who was an employee of Skye Bank, confided in one of her colleagues that her marriage was undergoing challenges, but she was reluctant to leave because she did not want her daughter to be raised in a broken home. Well, either a broken home or an abusive home, none of it for me is a good idea. Back to our story. On the 7th day of July 2011, the court case started with Akolade, now a suspect for murder, presenting his evidence before the court. He said that his marriage was abusive and was filled with cases of domestic violence against him. He showed bruises and cuts on his body. But first of all, he said he never wanted to marry Titilayo, and he described the first pregnancy as an accident. Most of the other witnesses who gave their testimony in court did not favor Akolade. His neighbor testified against him that he heard noises on that very day from their apartment and that Akolade has been abusive towards Titilayo. The gateman also added that he noticed blood on the clothes and hands of Akolade before he tried to wash it off. The gateman said immediately after washing his hands, he hurriedly asked him to open the gate and he left the house without a mechanic. You see, this is one of the instances that Akolade's story didn't add up, because he claims to have left the house with his mechanic, but the gateman said he saw no mechanic. In addition, on further investigation, no police in the area claimed to have seen or spoken to Akolade on the day of the crime. In fact, the police found his car parked under a bridge and the door was left open with the keys still in the ignition with some blood stains in it. Titilayo's sister said she had called Titilayo's phone, but it was Akolade who picked the call and told her that Titilayo was fine. But after they spoke, Titilayo's number was turned off. This gave her reasons to worry and went to check on her sister alongside other family members. But when they got to the house, the neighbors told them what they had noticed the previous day. This made them more curious to open the door. They knew something wrong had happened and they had to get into the apartment. So they broke the door, and what they saw in the bedroom was beyond horrible. It was a tragic sight to behold. Titilayo was covered in a pool of blood with bruises and stabs all over her. The murder knife was deep in her neck, contrary to Akolade's testimony that she fell on the knife. Other items found at the crime scene include a hammer, a spatula, and a frying pan. In court, Akolade told the judge that his wife was demonic and will occasionally stab herself. But you see, the pathologist, Professor Obafunwa, who was in charge of the forensic analysis, gave graphic accounts of his observation through slides of still photographs that the autopsy revealed injuries that could not have been self-inflicted because these injuries were too deep to the chest, to the back, and to the face. Wounds all over her body and including her stomach. According to the pathologist, the chest wall was lost due to multiple stab wounds. There was damage to the diaphragm, left side to the liver, her breast area, and repeated stabs that were seen on the lungs and intestine. In total, she had 76 recent stab wounds on her. That's horrible. When the suspect Akolade heard this, he straight up accused the pathologist for inflicting that many stabs just to get him behind bars. Akolade continued to plead not guilty because he is an ordained pastor of the Redeemed Christian Church of God and cannot do such horrible crime, especially to his wife. Akolade's mother said, "My son did not murder his wife. He was a pastor at the age of 12. He is not that kind of child. Though I don't know what killed Titilayo, but I disagree with anybody who tells me that my son killed her because he is not that kind of a child." After 3 years of court hearing, Akolade was found guilty of the murder charge against him and was sentenced to death by hanging. His last words were, "Jesus, what will happen to Olamide, my daughter?" You see, before committing any crime, always put in mind the people your actions will affect. So that's all for today, guys. Tell us what you think about this case, this story in the comment section below. This is still a very tragic story, and please do well to subscribe to our channel for more of such stories.